everyone, this is 4.6 Learning and Personal Control. And our objective for today is students will be able to describe how a perceived lack of control can affect one's behavior and health. So, when it comes to learning, we talked about pairing stimuluses together, we talked about receiving rewards and punishment, we talked about how cognitive and biological can plays a role in learning. But there's also this idea of whether or not we can control our learning, or what if we're in a situation where we can't have control or we don't have control? How does that impact our learning? And that's what we're going to get into today. So, when it comes to control, we are first going to focus on personal control. And personal control says, how much control do you feel you have? So, how much control do you feel you have over a situation? And there's two ways that we might look at this. And one way is going to be problem focused. And when we have problem focused, that means that we are, so problem focused is when we try to address the specific problem that's being caused, right? So we address the issue itself. So this would be a problem that you could potentially fix, right? I'm not doing well in a course, so I am going to get a tutor so that way I can improve my grade. That's having personal control and being problem focused. The second type is going to be emotion focused. And this is where you maybe don't have control over the issue itself, so you try to control your emotions surrounding it. So in this case, let's say that you have a friend who maybe did something that you didn't think was very kind. You may not be able to change that friend's behavior, but you can change the way that you feel about it. Maybe you can perceive it, well, I don't know what that friend is going through at the moment. Maybe they're having a difficult time, or maybe I should spend my energies with my other friends at the moment. So you might try to change the way that you perceive it to, again, gain some personal control over something that maybe you don't have control over. Now, when we don't have control over something, when we don't have that personal control, we may have what we call learned helplessness. And that's what we see here. And learned helplessness is when there's uncontrollable bad events, which gives us, the people, perceived lack of control, and then results in what we call a generalized helpless behavior. And what we have found, we've done studies with dogs on learned helplessness, but what we have found in both dogs and humans is when they are in a traumatic event where they don't have control, they learn to feel helpless. Now, continuing on with our idea of control. This is absolutely my most favorite experiment in the whole world, right here, the marshmallow experiment. Um, internal locus of control means that we control our own fate. And that we have control over what happens to us. External locus of control is when there are outside forces beyond our control. that control our fate. So think of it as if you get a bad grade in a course, right? So if you got an F in AP psychology, somebody might take it as an internal locus of control. Oh, you know what? I haven't really been studying for my vocabulary quizzes or for my exams. I haven't done all my assignments. I really need to start doing those. So therefore, I have an internal locus of control. I can control my own fate. Or external locus of control, where it is outside forces beyond our control our fate is, oh, well, Mrs. Cesario doesn't like me, so I'm just never going to do well in her class. Or I just don't get it, so I'm never going to do well in that class. Those are external locuses of control. But both of these two items fall under what we call self control. And self control is the ability to control impulses and delay short term gratification. Which is exactly for long-term reward, sorry. And that is exactly what we see here with our marshmallow experiment. So the marshmallow experiment is you give a child one marshmallow, and then you tell them that if they can keep that marshmallow for a set period of time, at the end they can get two marshmallows. And so you see this poor little person going through the distraught of trying not to eat the marshmallow. So we go from, stress to seeing if anyone's paying attention. We got lots of stress here. Now we get to the smelling of the marshmallow. The marshmallow is now in our hands. Marshmallow is now up to the mouth, and now we are eating said marshmallow. So there's very little self-control. And it's a really adorable experiment if you've ever not seen it. And we'll try to show it in class today. So, really, what we talked about today is personal control and how control plays a role in learning. So, do we take control for our own actions and control our learning? How do we look at it based off of emotional learning versus problem control or problem solved learning and learned helplessness? And how does that all play a role in our learning?